Dear listeners, welcome to the ECM podcast. I'm Caroline Fontagneux, and I'm very happy to host this series that will take you behind the scenes of new music on ECM Records. In this new episode, I'm meeting with Fred Hersch to talk about his new ECM trio album, The Surrounding Green, produced by Manfred Eicher. We talked about nature, mental health, the art of the trio, and so much more. We're here to talk about this new trio album that you're releasing on ECM, The Surrounding Green. Well, let's start with the title first. Where does it come from?
You know, I don't know where I got the title, but I have a sticky on my desktop that has different words and potential titles. And for some reason, I had it there for months and months and months. And then I just looked at it, and then the tune came out in about, 20, 30 minutes. And it just felt like, oh, yes, that's The Surrounding Green. And sometimes I start with the title, or sometimes I'll start with a key or a mood, or just some kind of small direction, or maybe a kind of rhythm. But a lot of my tunes are written very quickly, although they kind of gestate for a long time, and then they just kind of pop out. The other original tune, the new original tune on the record, Anticipation, that was also very fast.
It's always like that?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's some that I really work on and massage, but the gist of it usually comes out in kind of a burst. And
that's great.
I think the most important thing about any tune is that it should stick. It should be memorable and, not so crazy hard to follow, because when you're putting a theme out there, it should have elements for the players to work with and be able to make their own, and also be clear so that the listener says, okay, I see what they wrote. Now I hear what they do with it.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit old-fashioned in that way.
Yeah, I don't know if it's old-fashioned, but it is, you were working for sure. But you were telling me last time that you also have like a list of titles that you like that are not attached to a song just yet.
Right.
So that was the case for The Surrounding
That was
Green.
the case for that one.
In another conversation, we were talking about you feeling like you might need to be a little bit closer to nature and more connected to the green that could surround us.
Right.
That's pretty accurate. And do you still feel that way about nature? And is it something that
I mean, it's kind of aspirational. Mm-hmm. I'm building a house in the Catskill Mountains, about 2 hours north of New York, and with my partner, and we are in the middle of a 290 acres of forest, and I will be surrounded by green.
That's literally the surrounding green.
Yeah. Our current home in Pennsylvania is also surrounded by green, but this one will be even more great, I think.
And also, like, you've been living here in New York. We're sitting on your couch in New York, in the heart of Manhattan, in Soho, right. Which is a very busy street, very busy neighborhood, very busy city, of course. We're going to talk more about New York, but it's understandable that you also need some more green. So it's a manifestation to this title.
Well, I was just on a 3-week silent meditation retreat in the forest. Yeah. And, the big decision of the day was which direction I was going to walk, or whether or not I was going to sit and meditate or not, or whether or not I was going to go to the pond and sit on the meditation rock for a couple of hours. And I really feel that the kind of crazy energy of living in a crazy retail shopping mall, basically.
Literally, yeah.
I'm really yearning for something else, and a large swimming pool.
But if you only had that, wouldn't you miss the city?
No, I don't want to. I don't want to. I mean, look, if I lost my lease here in Soho, we could live there. I mean, it's going to be plenty of house, but I never will give up New York. I mean, I teach here.
No, I was going to say, you're in New York.
Right. Yeah, 48 years, I'm a New Yorker, and
But you're going out, you're going to the clubs, you're meeting with artists,
Right.
you're curious about what's going on. You're not
Right.
just in your little apartment here, not or waiting, counting the days until you're going outside in Pennsylvania.
No, I do try to take advantage. I love to go out and hear music, even if it's a show that I don't like, challenge myself to ask myself why I didn't like it, and I like supporting my friends. I like being in touch with young musicians, whether I ask them over to play with me or teach them. It keeps me current. Yeah, I mean, so I hope to have really the best of both worlds.
Can we talk about this 45-minute rule?
Yeah, it's something that I came up with in 2002. I was out at the McDowell Colony, which is an artist residency up in New Hampshire where I've been many times, and I was feeling compositionally kind of blocked. Start to write something and then judge it and throw it in the trash, and wasn't able to finish anything. So I took the 12 letters that describe the 12 notes of the chromatic scale, C, C sharp, D, E flat, E, F, all the way up.
B.
And I cut up these little squares and I put them in a hat, and I would pull one of them out and then set a timer for 45 minutes and see if I could finish something. And
That's really hard.
well, it is and it isn't. I mean, you kind of just have to run with whatever shows up instead of, and if 25 minutes go by and you're still looking at the paper, well, you write a blues, or you take the chord changes of some standard and write your own melody. I mean, the point, though, is to finish something in scribble, but to finish it. And some of my, I think, most popular and maybe best tunes have been written with this kitchen timer approach. Valentine, Stars, so many of them have been written that way. And I don't know, just now I have to start doing it again because I'm playing at the Village Vanguard next month and I need some new tunes, so I've got to get out the timer and the baseball hat.
Yes. Do you always use the same piece of paper, or are you writing them down again?
No, I
every
write
time?
them down again. Yeah.
But
I
it's
always use the same hat.
Yeah, good. It's interesting because you need the structure, you need the challenge, you need the exercise as something that is constant practice. And at the same time, there is something very romantic and touched by the grace, like when you're writing, when you're improvising as well. And is that what makes the good balance of an artist? Like being at the same time very structured and working with challenges and limits, and letting the inspiration and
Right. Well, there's a very famous Stravinsky quote that I could paraphrase. Basically, he said, if somebody said to me, here, I'm going to give you a studio, everything you need, write whatever you want, go for it, he said, I would stare at the paper. But if somebody said to me, I want you to write a 5-minute, 12-second piece for 8 tubas and a piccolo, he said, I'd be all over it. So I think we need a frame. And for a jazz musician, nominally, a tune is a frame. And then we can decide what to put in the frame. Or it's a glass bowl, and you keep putting different things in it, and then it looks different. You put M&Ms in it, it looks one way. You put a goldfish in it, it looks another way. You put Jell-O in it, it looks another way.
You made me hungry.
So, but the bowl stays the same.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of form of the tune.
I like that.
And it keeps changing depending on what you put in it. So yes, it's structure, but it's also, you can decide whatever you want to put in there, and it doesn't really matter, so it's having enough experience to be able to let go of what you think should be happening to like what your impulse is, and try to stay in it present phrase to phrase. So that's It just takes years. It's simple but not easy.
Is it something that you teach your students?
Yes, I try.
Yeah.
I mean, the best I can.
Yeah.
You know, and some of them are already so highly accomplished at such young ages. You know, it's crazy right now.
But is it also how you view the construction of an album, per se? We're here to talk about this album, this trio album, The Surrounding Green. And is that how you build a project? Do you get into the studio with, I'm making an album in mind? Or is it, I'm going to play and we'll see what comes out of it?
Yeah, I had a list of things that I thought I wanted to record, you know, but in terms of putting an album together, that's also a frame. You know, it's 45 minutes or whatever it is. Yeah. And what you want to put into that, which is sort of like planning a menu or a film or a journey from the beginning to the end, it should add up in some way.
Yeah.
Not be boring, but not be totally all over the place either. And Manfred Eicher and I have the very similar visions of, you know, what an album should and can be.
Yeah.
You know, that it's more than a collection of tracks. It makes sense. And I think the trend, at least, you know, my albums for ECM have all been less than 50 minutes. I think the standard kind of jazz album for so many years was 10 tracks and 60 to 65 minutes. That seemed to be a very common thing. Of course, now we're, thank God, doing LPs again.
Yes.
So when you have a shorter album, you can cut it in half and get an LP, and that's lovely. You don't have to jettison any tracks, and you can have everything there. But yeah, an album, you know, is to be enjoyed as a whole. And hopefully the tracks stand on their own, but they also work together in the sequence and with each other so that it's a little bit more cinematic than just 7 tracks. I've gotten to the point in my life where I don't really like recording with headphones because I play every gig in my life without headphones. Why should I put on headphones to do something that's going to last forever? I mean, it's just so artificial. Yeah. It's like film acting versus stage acting. So even though there was no audience, it had the feeling of a live gig on the stage. You know, Joey Barron plays fantastic dynamics. Drew has one of the great bass sounds. Yeah. And we were just able to play like we were playing in any of the wonderful halls that we play in when we're playing in Europe.
Was Manfred in the control room or in the audience? Or
Manfred was in the control room.
Yeah.
And, you know, the night before we recorded, Drew's brother died suddenly in Arizona. And that was very difficult. We didn't know if he would stay or go home. You know, we said, Drew, just do what you need to do, and if we have to reschedule, we'll reschedule, or we'll do something. And he decided to stay and play. I think he felt better about doing that. There wasn't much he could have done to go back 2 days early. But it added something to the recording. I can't exactly say what, but...
something a little raw, for sure, at least.
Yeah, you know, I mean, look, life is life. But in the end, I think we came up with something that we're all very happy with. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about this trio because, I mean, you've recorded... Do you know exactly how many albums you recorded in your career? It's okay if you don't.
No, it's something like 12 or 13 solos, 12 or 13 trios, probably more than 20 duos, plus... a number of side men.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm way over 100. Drew has recorded almost 500 albums.
Drew Gress, we're talking about the bassist.
Drew
yes.
Gress, yes. And I started playing with Joey in the very early 80s.
Yeah, you know both of them for a very long time.
Yeah. Joey probably closer to 45 years or more. 45 years or more. And Drew probably close to 40. And Joey was on my first two trio albums, one with Mark Johnson and one with Charlie Hayden.
Yeah.
And Drew and I, I've played with him probably more than any other bass player during my career. And I've played with all the great bass players, Charlie Hayden and Ron Carter and Buster Williams and, all the way on down, Sam Jones, down the list of history's greatest bass players. Mm-hmm. And he's the bass player's bass player. He's great. And so, yeah, even though we haven't played the three of us together that much, we played in Europe in recent years, but, it's very comfortable and we know each other in the best possible way.
But to go back to what we were talking about frame versus spontaneous freedom or whatever you want to call it, playing with people that you know so well in a trio, which is a formation that you know so well as well, is it more something that gives a frame because it's comfortable, or is it something that gives so much freedom because you know it very well?
It's freedom.
Yeah.
Playing on these slow, kind of out-of-time ballads, Plain Song and the Surrounding Green. Drew and I know each other so well in terms of how to move forward with the harmony and also where to kind of pause. It's like going for a walk and smelling the flowers, kind of thing. And, Joey is literally a magician. He almost became a magician.
Really?
Yes. He's great with...
I'm not surprised now that you say that.
Yeah. And he's got beautiful energy.
Yeah.
And just all the level of experience that we all have collectively and in general. I mean, how much experience there was on the stage.
It was recorded, you can stop me if you don't want to talk about that, but it was recorded a year ago in May 2024. Mm-hmm. And you went through a lot in the last 12 months.
Yeah. Well, lockdown was very hard for all of us musicians. All of a sudden, no audiences and everything you're doing on Zoom or kind of feeling like your identity had been taken away from you as a performing artist, and also in a field where you're collectively improvising with people, and everything was just alone in front of a camera or a computer. Yeah. Then June of 2021, I came back very early on and started touring and doing projects. I had 3 of the busiest and best years of my career. And we recorded the album in May of 24, and that was at the end of an incredible month in Europe. And then I came back to New York and played at the Village Vanguard in mid-late June, and it was an amazing week. And then kind of the bottom dropped out, and I don't know if I was exhausted or just everything kind of caught up with me, or it was one of those moments where, wow, everything you ever dreamed about doing, you have done,
That's so
including
scary.
recording a solo album for ECM. I mean, that was a huge... I started listening to ECM when the label started in 1973. So, yeah, it was something that I'd always wanted to do. Yeah. And feeling like just all these kind of dreams happening. And then I just began to feel tapped out and tired. I started sleeping a lot, and then I stopped eating. I wasn't eating. And then also entered a really deep clinical depression. Yeah. With some features of psychosis and anorexia. And long story short, I ended up in a psych ward in early August, and then in a private psychiatric hospital for 1 month from mid-August to mid-September of last year. I had said I didn't want to play anymore. I didn't want to live anymore. Yeah. I have nothing to say. I'm done. And of course, I was so weak that I couldn't have played if I wanted to. and then I went to went to Connecticut for a month and got back, and then I had a whole month between that and my first gig back at the Village Vanguard. And I really decided, okay, I'm going to push through this, and I'm going to make it happen. And I had a great week, and now I feel like, I'm back where I want to be, being a little kinder to myself, not worrying so much about, maybe what people think or what is expected of me, or that I have to have a new project or do anything other than what I do, and just
Welcome
have that
back.
try to have that be enough.
Yeah, welcome back, Fred.
That's and that's once again simple and not easy. I mean, self-acceptance, no matter what level you're on, is not
no matter
guaranteed.
How old you are. Yes,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, it can sneak up on you.
You're feeling better, and thanks for
thank you.
telling me all this. How do you feel listening back to this recording that was only a year ago, that we're releasing today, with so much that happened between May 2024 and June 2025? Does it sound like you? Do you feel close to this recording? Because you've been through a lot in the last year, I mean, in your life, but in the last year, and you changed.
Yeah, I feel better and better about it. At first, I was very focused on what it wasn't or what it could have been. But now I feel very good about it. I think sometimes you just have to get some distance from things. And, you always go into a recording with some expectations. But I feel like there's a lot of depth to the music. And all it can be is a snapshot of what three people did on 2 days in an auditorium in Lugano. That's all it can ever really be. But I feel like it's a deep recording, and while the playlist might not look like anything maybe that different from certain other records I've done, I think this has a really nice place in my catalog. I feel really good about it.
Yeah, I feel very good about it too.
Yeah.
And I like that it's title, because there's something that is also calling for, it's an invitation to sit down and embrace what's around us, right. Whether it's green or gray, or very, very dark or very, very bright. We're sitting in your living room. Thanks for having me. And behind you, there's your piano. Can you talk to me about your instrument a little bit? Because I don't think we have last time we talked in this podcast, and it's literally here. I mean, it's the center, not geographically, but it's the center of this room, and you're playing it for a while. Can you talk to me about this piano?
Yeah, this piano I've had for about pushing 45 years.
First of all, how did you get it in this apartment?
Well, we have the freight elevator in the back.
Okay,
and it
so
goes,
that was by the door?
The legs go off it, and it goes on its side, and It was made in 1896 in New York, and it's been lovingly restored. This at one point was a recording studio, and so that was the drum booth over there and the vocal booth, and behind you where the bedroom was the control room.
Yeah.
And the piano was the center piece of that recording studio. This is 40-some years ago, so long time ago. And it's got a great soul. Our other place in Pennsylvania, I have another Steinway B.
Yeah.
Also American, but of a little more recent vintage, from 1969, which is, I don't know, how old? 75. Of course, in Europe, I'm playing mostly the Hamburg Steinway. Blessedly, mostly really good ones. But there's something about the vintage American Steinways that has a little bit more, just a different kind of depth and color. The European ones are more pristine, I would say. And I really baby my pianos. I make sure that they're always tuned in good shape because, to be honest, I'm not a heavy practicer. And if I want to go to the piano and play, I want it to be
comfortable
fun.
and nice.
Yeah, it's got to be fun
Yeah.
or I just won't do it.
Yeah.
You know, some pianists are less picky about pianos, but I tend to be a little particular. And
That's fun.
and-
do you play it every day?
not every day,
No.
but most days. And Keith Jarrett and I shared a piano tuner for many, many years. And he always told me that I was his second pickiest customer.
After
You
Keith?
you can guess who the first one was. But I think we're similarly picky. You have to have the right tool for the job. You know, you have
Of
to.
course.
You know, and the best pianos, you don't even have to think about it. It's just all music,
Yeah.
and you don't have to worry about anything. And,
Yeah.
and likewise, if the piano's great and the sound is great in the room or on the bandstand, the music takes care of itself. But if those things are not right, there's always a little something that's going to be annoying.
It's a great album. It's a beautiful dynamic between you three. It makes sense. It's a nice thing that you're releasing a trio after your duo with Enrico Rava and then you solo on ECM. May I ask what's next, or let's not talk about that?
I'm not sure, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
It's always in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
But I think I feel content to rest with where I am for a little while, and maybe by the summer or the fall, I'll have an idea for something else.
Look at you being in the present.
Yeah.
Is that meditation? Who taught you that, or is just turning 70?
Yeah, that's part of it. Just trying to pay attention to what your heart says, not to put too much pressure on myself, and figure that things will come when they do, and that's okay. In the meantime, I'm super enjoying playing my gigs and at the Village Vanguard and my concerts and some travel and hopefully the joy of moving into a brand new house and having a big swimming pool.
Yes.
Yeah, just kind of trying to have fun and really spread some joy. I think that's what people want right now. That's what I want to do, is have fun, spread some joy, and keep it simple.
Thank you, Fred.
Thank you.
Fred Hersch about his new trio album, The Surrounding Green. Thank you for joining, choosing, and listening to our ECM podcast. I'm Caroline Fontagneux, and I look forward to sharing more music with you in the next episode.